Hello and welcome to the Marriage Sessions Catch Up. Today we're joined by Andy and Dana. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Now, you guys were on the Cherish session.
Yeah.
So before we delve into it, can you just tell us a little bit about what Cherish even means for you guys?
That's a very good question. I had to look it up. The dictionary. It's such an old school term. We don't use it a lot, but I love this idea that to cherish something is to protect it.
Yeah.
To sort of keep guard of it a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, darling?
Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about it was 5 years ago when we did this and we had very small kids and I don't remember an awful lot of that time and had completely forgotten that the session's even called Cherish. But I think for me anyway, it's about something that you value really highly. And I suppose for us, our relationship, we at least try to invest in it as if it's the most important thing in our lives. So I guess that probably is what I would think of when I think of Cherish.
I think that's good. Well done.
So do you guys just have any sort of examples of how you would show that you value each other, like especially in this time? And, in the sessions back then, you guys had younger kids. So maybe now, has that changed? Has that evolved?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that has always been really important to us, and we probably are living in some of the benefit of that now in a time of kind of crisis, is that we've always tried to invest in small habits that communicate care way more than big gestures.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes the tendency can be to focus on some big grand thing rather than small daily things. And so like for me, one of the things that I do every day is make Dana coffee in the morning and bring it to her. And like that is like, it sounds really romantic. I just about never feel romantic when I'm doing it. Like it's not, it doesn't feel that way. But it doesn't feel, I don't mean that to say I'm resentful. It's just part of our life. It's just what happens in the morning. It's the first thing I do in the morning is make Dana coffee and bring it up to her,
Yeah. I think that's so important because you don't get it right doing the right thing at the right moment, even half of the time, to be quite honest with you. I think there's a really bad expectation that we have on sort of relationships where people just feel romantic and eventually they'll do all the right things at all the right moments. And I think one of the habits that we have put into our relationship is just asking the question, what can I do? What do you need? Because the reality is, I don't know. We are so different from each other. If I try to use my intuition to cherish Andrew, I'm doing things that I wish he would do for me instead of that actually are for him. So a lot of times it's just being humble and saying, hey, what do you need from me? What can I do?
Yeah.
How's that looked in the current climate for you both? I mean, just being in each other's space, I'm sure many married couples watching this now will feel that sense of everything's been intensified to some degree, and there's days where it feels okay and days where it feels more of a challenge. Like, how's all that stuff looked for you?
Creating some rhythm to our family has been so important.
Yes.
So we're very Dana's a very scheduled person. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I am an introvert and I love structure. And so I already know that what is going to stress me out about lockdown is not that I have to stay home. It's that I have to stay home constantly with other people. Okay. So I already know that I'm going to be a bit more volatile than normal because my own space is constantly being invaded. But maybe that's balanced out by the fact that we have created, our kids are school age kids, and we have created a really consistent rhythm for us. Monday through Thursday is school, and the kids know what's happening, and I know what's happening, and I can be at peace a little bit more knowing that structure and that rhythm's in place, kind of thing.
Yeah, and naturally I'm a much more spontaneous person who doesn't really like rigid structure, but I have to say the thing that I think has helped us in our relationship and the family as a whole has been really embracing like a pretty pretty strict family rhythm during the week, especially when I'm working and the kids are at school. That has been so helpful.
Yeah.
Just for everybody's expectations, kids and ours, and they know what's going to happen, and that just makes life so much easier for all 5 of us.
Yeah. And for anybody, maybe sometimes I think you watch things like this and you're like, oh, that family they definitely are not like ours. They don't have the problems we have and things, but we are a very volatile family. Like, we are fireworks going off all the time. There's not one quiet and calm personality in this house. And I don't know that we're going to change that anytime soon. We've tried and it's not really working. But one rhythm and habit that we have formed that helps a lot is we say sorry a lot. We say sorry a lot, and we say sorry to each other in front of the kids. If we sort of fly off the handle in front of the kids, we say sorry to the kids.
Yeah.
We encourage the children to say sorry when they have overstepped boundaries, and I think that's one of the best things we can do. We can't change the personality of our family overnight, but we can sort of acknowledge when things aren't done the way they should be done,
Yeah.
I think the bigger picture for that, probably, which is where apologies fit, is we really work hard at having a habit of resolution. So resolving stuff is really important to us. And so that's maybe been slightly tricky, in that there's probably more to resolve than there was whenever we were not around each other all day long, And so trying to be a bit disciplined on like not needing to debrief everything, or having a big resolution at the end of a day, or sometimes it's okay to just be like, yeah, that was done.
Sometimes.
Move on. Done, resolved. We don't need to process it. We don't need to debrief it. That was, sorry for that. Okay, move on,
Yeah.
Right, so we're back with Andy and Dana, and Zoom in the classic way kicked us out. So we're just going to start where we left off. So guys, can you tell us what one thing the other does to make you feel loved?
Ooh. I want to hear yours.
I already told you all I make her coffee.
No, what do I do to make you feel loved?
Sometimes when I've had a particularly full day, this is like the best thing ever, when like work has been busy and it's been hard, and then we'll have dinner, and then Dana will say, babe, I'll put the kids to bed. It's like, like, honestly, I do love my children, but that is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
when you do that.
I'm so awesome.
Yeah. That happens about once every 6 weeks.
No, that's not true. That's good. I mean, Andrew mentioned it earlier, but honestly, for me, that cup of coffee in the morning is it. And the fact that it's done so consistently, I never have to be like, are you going to make me coffee in the morning?
Yeah.
There's something about that just feels, I don't know, just a habit that I can depend on. I'm not a morning person at all. This one hops out of bed, ready for the day, and I need some time to get my spirit right, if you know what I mean, because I don't feel nice in the morning. And so I feel very loved and very seen when that cup of coffee comes my way.
Sounds like a great cup of coffee.
It
is a good cup of coffee.
What's your method, Andy?
Well, it's in the French press, but it just, I don't know. It does take.
It's made with love.
It's made with love.
Sprinkled dustings of love.
So corny.
Boil the kettle, put it in.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Stir it up.
Plunge it.
Yeah.
Pour it.
How long do you leave the coffee to brew for once it's?
So somewhere between 2 and 4.5 minutes, and then time it. But
you have been known to time it every once in a while.
I'm always aware that it's somewhere between 2 and 4.5 minutes. So, like, there is a variance for me. Sometimes I can tell if the coffee's decent in the morning or not, but you just need caffeine. So.
I just need the caffeine.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I love how both your examples are so simple. Do you know what I mean? And they're consistent, but they're so simple. Do you find that compared to when you first got married, actually they've just simplified over time, like how you feel loved? Do you find you have different expectations now?
Yeah, I think we were chatting about this the other day. Like, so we'll be 12 years married this autumn, and I think the thing that, like, our lives are complicated now with 3 kids. Dana travels for work normally. I have a fairly busy job, so there just isn't the space for all of this extra stuff, and so I think one of the things that we both feel like we've done quite well is really invest in small things that you can sustain, and that sustain your relationship when things are hard. That's been really, really crucial for us, hasn't it?
That really reminds me of one other thing that we've done, and we did it when we first got married, and we had no money, like none. Like, when I remember going to do a gig and I got like 20 quid once, we were really excited because we could like order a takeout, so we had no money, but your grandparents did it and your parents did it. And it was this Friday night, date night, but it was always home. It was always home. And these are people who could afford to go out that were doing this. And you would dress up, we would dress up and at that stage, we would get the M&S meal deal for 2. Nice. And because it was like a tenner and it came with a bottle of wine. And we would have a really lovely meal at home together. And even as our income increased and circumstances changed, that never changed. And it makes me think, like, now many of us, our jobs have stopped. All my work is done, and for I don't know how long. So a lot of us, our income is split in half. Or we don't know what the future holds. And there's a lot of stress with that in a relationship, finances and things like that. And even through this, I think it's something that we've really tried hard. And it's hard because we're exhausted. The last thing I want to do at the end of the day is get out of my sweats and go get dressed. Yeah. But having a discipline, I feel like that has kept us.
It's funny because we've so many friends or, couples that we've kind of been involved with helping over the years that find the idea of that like totally absurd. That you would like, you'd go and get dressed up to stay home, and no one else is coming. It's just you. And my grandparents just modeled this for us, and I guess it's one of those things that we just kind of picked up, and we're so grateful for what it's kind of one of those habits in our lives that's like it built more for us than we invested in it, if that makes sense. Like we didn't do it because we were at the time thinking, the psychology of this is brilliant, that we're actually investing in ourselves just for ourselves. We're not going out to restaurants. We weren't thinking about any of those things, but that's actually those were the kind of, I guess, thought patterns that it built in us, that we now it's not weird when we do stuff that's really about investing in our relationship. It doesn't feel overly manufactured or intentional because some of the stuff we've just been doing it for years, and it's been helpful.
And so many of the relationships that kind of last, it's often friendship that kind of keeps them together. So would that be an example of how you keep the friendship alive, or is there other things that kind of add to that?
Because that one night a week inevitably always includes us with glasses of wine, just talking. Dreaming together. Like, when we had no money, all we had to do was dream. Like, what do we want for our future? And we will really find ourselves passionately talking about the things that we care about and the things that we're investing in. And that, to me, has been invaluable in our sense of togetherness.
And on top of that, like, the first 3 years of our marriage, we didn't have TV on purpose. We're in the process of building a house at the minute, and we've, again, very intentionally in the kitchen, dining, living space, designed that to not have a TV. And in our living space, no TV. And that has been really important for us, again, that we find ourselves frequently just in conversation. And that's, again, it's just a habit that keeps us. I remember an old friend of mine said to me, marry the woman that you can stay up all night talking to and not have sex with, because that's going to be much more like your marriage. And
no, he said you'll spend more time talking than having sex.
Maybe.
Has that proved to be true, Andy?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of sex, but there's a lot of talking too.
Very good.
Unfortunately, we're both very big talkers, aren't we?
Yeah, we do, but I think on the friendship thing, like that has been really that's what we fell in love, talking to each other, and that has never changed. We spend a lot of time in conversations about all sorts of stuff. Not all of it's like intense or even important. We just talk to each other a lot.
Yeah.
That's a really great place to land. So Andy and Dana, thank you so much for taking the time, taking time out of your evening, getting the kids to bed and everything, to share that with us. And I'm sure everyone watching will have found it really helpful. And yeah, we hope to see you at the next The Marriage Sessions coming soon.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be with you guys. Good to see you.
Bye, guys.
Well, connection is really important for a healthy and happy relationship over the long haul.
I think you actually said cold or stone-hearted at one point.
Yeah.
Not a good thing to say on a date.
It was true at the time, though.
Well, it was, yeah.
During the course of a marriage, we do change physically, emotionally, spiritually, and we have to allow for that.